Hey y'all, I'm back for another Cephalid Breakfast Legacy League, and the deck you see here is what I'm going to be playing. It's actually nearly identical to what I've been playing in my videos so far, with one exception. Instead of playing Memory's Journey in the main deck, I have substituted that for a fourth copy of Prismatic Ending across the 75 cards. And the reason for this is I would like to have the maximum numbers of answers for cards like Tamiyo or other threats that can jeopardize my chances of winning the game really quickly. And there's so many things that Prismatic Ending can hit, whether it's a hate piece of some kind that's locking me out of the game, or the big threat like Tamiyo. Now, Memory's Journey is an excellent card in Breakfast when you're trying to win the game, because it's an added layer of protection against graveyard hate or a force of will. But a lot of times that simply doesn't pan out. Either you don't need it, or you don't have access to it for whatever reason. Either it's in your hand, or you've pitched it to force of will, or perhaps you simply don't have the green mana to spend, or maybe you even do have the green mana, but now you're playing into a daze by casting it. Certainly, having Memory's Journey will increase the chances of winning with the Breakfast combo, but it's such a bad card otherwise, with only fringe benefits in certain matchups. So today, I'm choosing to cut it in favor of a better overall card. Now, apart from that, it's just a good old Cephalid Breakfast deck. We have the Illusionist and the Nadu, which will combo with Nomads, en-Kor, and Shuko, either milling the whole deck with Illusionist and winning with Dread Return, or simply burying opponents with card advantage via Nadu. So I ran this exact same list in the Showcase Challenge yesterday, and I went 2-2 and dropped. So I'm hoping today in this league we'll have a bit of redemption. I hope it goes well. Let's see how it goes. I am on the draw in round one with a hand I need to mulligan. Without a blue source, this really isn't great, unless Force of Will turned out to be an amazing card, but not worth the risk. This hand is better. I will bottom the Shuko. Hopefully I won't need the Force of Will that I just put back, but this definitely has a lot more going on for it. So let's see what my opponent is up to. Forest, Noble Hierarch, okay. So this could be a Nadu deck. I think I will do the proverbial bolting of the bird. And hopefully that sets them back significantly, but we'll see. This could also be Infect. I'd be a little sad if this was Infect and I swords their Mana Dork, but I think this probably is a Nadu deck. And given that I'm not expecting any real counter spells or anything, I think I'm going to play out both of these creatures, especially since I drew that land. That was a really nice pickup. So I'll fetch first. Probably just get another Tundra. That slightly masks that I have Nadu, because they don't see the green source yet. And if they have removal, they might be tempted to go after the Tamiyo. Even if they go after the Nomads, I don't hate my position here. Them untapping with maximum 3 mana makes me feel good about my chances to untap in a good position. So let's see how this goes. They have a Hedge Maze, so I played a Nadu deck like this the other day. It didn't have a Surveil, so I'm not totally sure if this is the Cradle variant or what. They do have a Nomads, and I suppose it could even be Breakfast, but the fetch land and the basic forest doesn't seem likely. All right, Cradle. So swordsing that Mana Dork was really crucial, and I'm guessing I'm about to win the game here. So I have no temptation to attempt to Tamiyo or Brainstorm. My opponent's clearly floundering, and I just don't think this deck has any sort of interaction for what I'm about to do. So let's see what happens. All right, got the first win. So it's a Nadu Mirror. I always like Pithing Needle. I like the Cauldron, my own Cavern, and then probably just extra removal. Possibly Tamiyo. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to cut Breakfast, and I think the answer is no. I'm going to cut the basic planes to start. I'm going to cut the Dazes. And I guess just the Tamiyos. I really think I want to be doing the Breakfast combo in this matchup as quickly as possible. They likely have some number of Fairy Macabres, but until I see some definitive graveyard hate and what that is, I want to be doing the Breakfast thing and threatening that quickly, ideally backed by Force of Will. But if they have Macabre, then that won't matter. Alright, this hand on the draw is a nice hand. Obviously it's a bit flooded, but Brainstorm can fix that. Hopefully my opponent won't have too furious of a start. These Cradle decks can put the combo Nadu and Nomads into play as soon as turn 2 if they have a mana dork. Okay, I have a Safekeeper. That makes me not particularly interested in Plows. And they are starting with the Safekeeper, so no acceleration is not bad. I think I'm just gonna threaten this combo. They don't have any white mana that they've shown just yet. And if they had a fetch land, I think you go ahead and get your colors assembled. They know I'm not a wasteland deck. Of course, they could have Endurance, they could have Macabre, so going for it does have some risk. But I want to be real threatening as soon as possible. This Safekeeper might be something I can target as well if they're light on mana. Okay, tapped land is good. My opponent is offering me a trade. I don't think I'll accept that trade. Do I go for it here? It's definitely risky. I think I'm gonna Brainstorm. I think there's just too much that my opponent could have. If they have Endurance, I don't lose, but I lose the ability to combo. If they have Macabre, then I just lose, so I'll cast Brainstorm. I'll be a bit conservative and patient here. Alright, well, I definitely want to put back Hedge Maze and I suppose the Narcomoeba. And I'm going to Swords this guy. That will prevent them from having Nadu plus a combo piece next turn. And they could, no matter what, like, they won't have access to their combo if they sack a land to keep this guy around. And they won't have this guy if they choose to keep their land. So they seem to just be in a tough place here. I'll get another Tundra. And Swords it. I think they're light on lands too, so I think they're very likely to just let it go. Okay. So they do want to preserve the Safekeeper. Sort of nice when Swords to Plowshares is just a Stone Rain. Might have a Cradle that they were holding off on. Maybe they wanted to have Cradle plus the untapped land to go Nadu. I'm sure they have a Nadu in hand or something they want to spend 3 mana on. They might be plowing my Nomads. I guess not. It'll be tempting to Swords this guy again because they're definitely a deck that wants more mana than they currently have. Alright, they have a Nomads. And a Shepherd, okay. Well, now what they're doing feels pretty threatening. but with multiple removal spells now. Like I could go Sword something, ending something, ponder. That would feel pretty good. They're running out of cards in hand, but I think with how slow of a start they had, I'm guessing one of their cards is a Nadu or like a Green Sun Zenith. And I just think they have some sort of graveyard interaction. I think that's the only way that this remarkably slow hand was keepable. So let's see what they do here. They might be losing some lands. I'm going to go Swords on Nomads. And if they use the Safekeeper to protect it, then they're going to lose a land. Okay, that's fine. I maybe should have started with the ending, but I think this works out just fine. Now I'll end the Safekeeper, and if they want to go to 0 lands, they can. It means for sure they can't Nadu next turn, even if they have a Cradle. Alright, finally they had to keep a mana source, so I like that. More lands. I don't love that, but I do like the Ponder. And I can play out the Illusionist to clear cards off of my library and have a fresh look with this Ponder. That's a nice trick with Illusionist. If you're not ready to win the game, you can at least use it to clear your library. This is a game where I kind of wish I had Memories Journey. I'm running no Memories Journey this league, and I bet they only have one piece of Graveyard Hate if I had to guess. So being able to go like Dread Return into Memories Journey would not be too bad. Okay, well now I think they can Nadu next turn, and they're not attacking, so they didn't offer a trade. They're probably ready to go. And given that they are, okay, so I'm gonna go Meticulous Archive, and then, or there's only one bad card on top of my library. If I had Nadu, then I would be able to cast it. So do I want to have the ability to cast Nadu, or do I want to see the most new cards? I think the answer is I want to see if I can cast Nadu. Okay, no Nadu, but ending on Nomads is an excellent consolation, because I just really do not want them to be able to combo me off. I want to see more cards out of their hand. So I'll go Nomads on bottom, drop in the middle, ending. I will end this now. That worked. I'll play the Archive, and I'll ditch the Trop. I could even offer a trade here, but I don't think that's wise. Okay, they have a Cradle. And no play. Interesting. So they could have Swords. They could have Endurance, but no green card other than Nadu. That would increase the likelihood that they have Swords and another piece of Graveyard Hate. I'll go to combat, see if they're willing to trade. Okay, they just scooped. Well, thank you for making my life easy. I don't know why they scooped there. I mean, they definitely, as soon as they have a Nomads, if they have a Nadu, they can just go off. I have nothing that I'm presenting, so I think that was a weird place to scoop, but sometimes you see that. Anyway, on to the next one. I'm on the draw in round 2 with a keepable hand. Hopefully I don't get oopsed turn 1. But if I get to untap, I'm going to feel pretty good about having this Daze in this Ponder. Alright, my opponent is fetching a Polluted Delta. I might be getting Thought Seized. I bet that's what's happening. Yeah, kind of stinks. Seems like that's a really common start these days in Legacy, and the Thoughtseize decks are really the tough ones to beat as a 2-card combo deck. Thankfully, Breakfast is pretty threatening in what it's capable of and can recover pretty quickly, but they just they get to pick apart my hand, and you know, whatever card they're afraid of is just gone now. I'm sure they're going to take the Ponder, but maybe they're ready to go off next turn with Entomb, and they just don't want to have to worry about Daze. I'm sure I'll keep Shuko, Nomads, and Swords. I really doubt they would take any of those. Alright, my Ponder is gone. Cavern is a nice pickup. I'm going to play the Island. I'm not going to play out Shuko because if they have something that I can Daze, I don't want to be playing into their Daze. I would love to see a cantrip here. Wasteland. Yikes. Well, that means I'm not getting another Thoughtseize. Okay. Sure. It'll take another black source for them to be able to Entomb and Reanimate next turn. I have access to basic planes through the Flooded Strand, and Cavernous Souls, ideally, when I put it into play, will be winning me the game. I can't say I feel great here, though. Double Thoughtseize is kind of rough. They took Nomads, so I guess they're not too afraid of Daze anymore. This might be Tempo. Brainstorm was great. I think I'm going to try to be patient here. I'm going to go Flooded Strand, pass. Because I think I like all the cards in my hand. I don't want to play the Shuko into a Daze. Okay, opponent casting Brainstorm. So again, I'm not getting Entomb Reanimated. They can't Bowmaster me this turn because I can Daze it and I can Swords it. I do wonder if I'm supposed to end step Brainstorm or if it makes sense to draw a card. I think it makes sense to draw a card first on my draw step. Nadu, okay. Well, it's a little punishing. Play the Brainstorm. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is hide the Tamiyo, hide the Nadu. Play the Shuko. It's really tempting to play the Nomads there, but if this is Reanimator and they reanimate an Archon of Cruelty, then I'm going to feel really dumb. I'm thinking at this point, with how passive the start has been from the opponent, that it could just be Tempo, but honestly, yeah, fetching and untapped, they're definitely going to Entomb right now. Yeah. So as I was speaking, I was sort of thinking, like, actually the fact that they haven't played a threat makes Entomb more likely. And they went for Atraxa. I don't have to despair here because next turn I will get to Nadu. Okay, they're playing Tamiyo. Alright, they don't actually have... not only do they not have it, but they are not wastelanding me. This is really great. I don't know what's going on over there that they played exactly like that, but I'm very thankful not to be a victim of a wasteland. They do have removal up around a daze. I guess that's likely. And if they wasteland me, like if it's fatal push, then it's playing into daze because they can't push the Nadu unless they wasteland. So I think they were maybe just trying to hedge against the breakfast side of the deck. But I will play Nadu. Whenever I have green and blue, I like to use a fun color in the middle just to be funny, I guess. All right, well, here's Nadu. I'll get that Tamiyo. And I'll get one more card. A land would be nice. Force of Will, that's also really nice. I'll fetch basic. I'll play Nomads. They might have a daze for this. That would stink. I think I'll fight over it if they have daze. I think I'll force pitch Tamiyo. Because I think they have a removal spell as one of the cards. That's the only way this line made sense without wastelanding me, knowing that I had daze. Nomads hits the table, they're going to let me draw 2 more, which I think is a mistake. And then they'll probably fatal push the Nomads. It'd be amazing if they had Bowmaster, if that was their removal spell. Of course, they know about the daze, so they know that wouldn't work. All right, so the backup Nomads is great. My hand is all loaded up. I think if they remove the Nomads, I'm going to let it go. Even though that represents 4 cards next turn, I just already have the cards that I think I need for next turn. And I don't want to get blown out by a removal spell. Well, okay, of course I'm going to daze this. Awesome. Well, that worked out about as well as possible. They have another wasteland, so I think it's just too late. So I cannot allow this, and as long as I find any mana source that I can play around daze, I'm going to be feeling pretty good. Come on, land. Other than Urza Saga, of course. Okay, well I bricked on lands, but even if they get this Atraxa right here, I have so many cards. So I'll try my best to prevent this. I'll pitch the Brainstorm, and hopefully that's just the game. All right, sweet. In sideboarding, I feel the need to respect Dimir Reanimator's plan quite aggressively, and all facets of it. I want to have all my Tamiyo removal. I want to have all of my graveyard hate and insulation against wasteland. And because there are so many cards I'm bringing in, 10 total cards, it does mean that the breakfast combo has to go. It's the thing that they're most likely going to be able to stop. They're also terrible top decks in a really close matchup. And with 2 more cuts to go, I like to get rid of Tamiyos because that gives them the opportunity to reanimate my Tamiyo, which I can't have. So that'll be my list for Game 2. I'm on the draw in Game 2 with what is admittedly a bit of a weak hand. I have white spells but no white mana source. I have the basic island, I have Shuko, I can get graveyard hit online through this. It sucks to mull against a Thoughtseize deck, so I'm just going to keep this. Ponder turn 1 from the opponent is about as good as it gets. Think about it, they could be Thoughtseizing, they could be Tamiyo, they could be holding up Entomb. So it's always a sigh of relief when they ponder. Ghost Vacuum. What a good pickup. I will play that right now. Hopefully it doesn't get dazed. Alright, in there with Ghost Vacuum, so that should buy me some time. Maybe I should have led on the Needle though. Yeah, it was a bit risky running that into a daze. Running the Needle into daze wouldn't feel so bad. Okay, Well, I think I'm going to be patient on this brainstorm. I'm going to play Needle into a Daze. I think they're very unlikely to daze it, but I'll name Wasteland. And then I'll play out the Saga. And I'll play Shuko. I'll give them an opportunity to daze. Whenever you're holding a 3-drop, I think just starting to jam stuff into daze is never a terrible idea. I would love for them to use it on a non-Nadu card or something like that. All right, Bowmaster. Well, I didn't get a chance to brainstorm around that, but hopefully I'll draw like Cavern off the top. A white source would also be acceptable. Go ahead and empty their graveyard. Land off the top is what I'm hoping for. Force a will. Okay, well, I think I just have to brainstorm, unfortunately. Hopefully they don't have another Bowmaster. Okay. Missed on the land. Crap. So I'm not going to need this Cauldron. And I guess I'm not going to need the Prismatic Ending. Though I'm going to redraw that next turn. That was really rough. Ponder at least can give me some fresh looks next turn, but it's not looking great. If I get the white source and can clear this huge orc army, then I'll feel okay. But already you can see how the mana situation can really just be the end of the line for this deck. This Saga only has Shuko left to get. But actually that'll clear the, I don't even remember right now what that other card was, but it's going to clear that bad card. I'll feel okay if I can remove the orc army. Okay, flow to mana. Search. If I had Mox Opal in the deck, that'd be pretty sweet here. But I don't. Fresh look at some cards. Hopefully they don't have another Bowmaster. Lands, okay. Well, lands are what I'm looking for. So I think this turn, I just ending this 5/5. That'll buy me the requisite time to hopefully cast Nadu next turn with force backup. Whew, they are forcing that. So I think I just force back. Pitch the Daze. I really need this 5/5 gone. If they force again, I can sort of YOLO Nadu and hopefully, okay, well, let's see how this works out. So if their last card is a Bowmaster, I'm dead. Otherwise, there's some game left to be played. But it doesn't look good. And actually, I'm at 7, yeah, because I forced, so I think I am just dead, right? Top card is a fetch land. Yeah. All right. Well, struggling over mana was the story of that game. That brainstorm not coming up with a land was the difference. And Ghost Vacuum, you know, sometimes really frustratingly, the graveyard hate can just be completely irrelevant against this deck. So it's just so threatening in so many dimensions. All right, I'm on the play. In the third game, I can't keep this hand. There's no blue source. This hand is not super inspiring, but it has graveyard hate. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to bottom the Force of Will. I will hope to find more mana and a Nadu off this Ponder. Nope. Shuffle. So now I have to hope not to get wastelanded. If I get wastelanded, then that might just be the game. Thoughtseize. So if they're playing a graveyard strategy, then now they can go off with it. If not, then they just take some of my removal or my nomads or whatever. Real tough. Alright, they took the swords. Not even worrying about the graveyard, so that's a little scary. I'll play out the Saga. That hides the information. Of course, now if they wasteland my Tundra, that's gonna blow. But just gotta get the show on the road here. Ponder means wasteland, I think, is potentially likely. Yep. And they go after the Tundra. Really bad. Yep. Well, maybe I'll draw a Cavern off the top. I'll play out the Nomads. They push my Nomads right away. It's fine. Okay, well, my opponent has a 5-card hand. I think I just have to cast this Nadu because even if they have days, it's going to be quite a long time before I can cast it around days. So let's just see. Maybe it eats a Force of Will. They are brainstorming. Maybe they won't find Force of Will or days. It at least feels good that they have to use their brainstorm in this way, but unless this resolves, I'm going to feel pretty bad about this. Dang. Okay, well, there's game left to be played. If they have a Reanimate or something like that, they can't really use it. If they have, well, now they can. So, let's see what happens here. Hedge Maze is acceptable. Swords, not what I'm looking for. I want Nadu, I want cantrips, I want Graveyard Hate. I need Prismatic Ending to be the card that answers their fair plan. But it at least seems that they don't immediately have Entomb Reanimate. And seeing Kaito get binned is kind of nice. Especially given that they probably just top deck this land. So, I guess there's some game to be played here. Another land. I guess I play it. So they have perfect information. If they have Entomb Reanimate, they're going to get me. So, alright. Force of Will was not a great pickup. But at least now there is an unknown card in my hand, which is about the smallest victory one can have. If Bowmasters is all they have, that's not super threatening because I have the ending. Hopefully they don't Kaito right here. No Kaito. They probably have a Force of Will or removal. Well, I can surveil off that. I'm going to go ahead and right now end this Bowmaster rather than hold up Hardcast Force. Maybe that's dumb. But I wonder if they're going to force this. Nope. Well, I just assumed they don't have Entomb Reanimator. I would have been victimized by that already, so... Well, I would have loved to ending that, actually. At least I get a surveil here. Get Archive. My mana is certainly underneath me. Dang, I don't want Macabre. See, now their board state is so imposing that I really just have to answer that or do my own crazy thing. No, I can't keep lands. Another Ponder is acceptable. Days, Force, Constructs. I think this is fine. I can eventually get a Needle and Needle Tamiyo, or get Graveyard Hate. If it's Ghost Vacuum, I have a ton of mana, so there's a good chance in my flooded state here I will be able to cast the Nadu. So I think what I'm going to do is go Force on bottom, then Daze, then Saga. Play the Saga. And they can do their worst over this next turn. But hopefully these constructs will be what draws me even with this Tamiyo. And hopefully they don't Entomb Reanimate in the meantime. Them doing that in combat suggests that they might have another Kaito in their deck. I did think that was a curious card to throw away. Reanimating my Nadu, sure. So now they have a bit of a beatdown plan, but now at least I have Force of Will online, big construct coming. My clock should be superior, depending on what all they have. Thoughtseize, it's fine. I'm sure they'll take the Force, at least I have another Force coming next turn. I think they're likely to win from this position, but there's game to be played, for sure. And given that they haven't flipped the Tamiyo, when the Saga pops, I will probably go for the Graveyard Hate and shut down that dimension of the deck. I guess they're holding back this army to block. That's fine. They'll probably fetch both of these lands to play around Needle, which would be 2 more life off of their clock. I think it would be very foolish of me to Pithing Needle one of their lands. I think they maybe realized that after doing it once, so. I feel the vaguest hope, backed by Force of Will, that these constructs can get the job done. Fatal Push. I'm going to force that. I want to push damage with these constructs right now. I want them to not be able to attack with the Tamiyo. And I'll re-equip here. I doubt it matters, but try to play correctly. I have Ghost Vacuum to stop their most unfair game plan. If they flip the Tamiyo, then they have to hold back Nadu to protect it if they don't have another threat. Okay, not swinging with Nadu feels great. That also opens the door to Ghost Vacuuming my own Nadu back, and with a 6th land, actually being able to put that into play. If they have any sort of removal, they could completely blow out this attack, but I'm not really in a position to play around stuff. I'll take out this Fairy Macabre. I probably should have taken the Nomads there, oops. But that's okay. Cavern. Alright, well that's a 6th land. And now super punishing that I didn't take the Nomads, but here we are. Okay, so they go to 4. They're facing 2 lethal attackers. I'm going to sandbag the land. Do you attack here? You do attack. All right, so they have some amount of confidence. 6 cards in hand is a ton of cards, but they have to be some very specific things right now. Namely, at least 1 removal spell. If they remove in combat, how many lands can I draw? My opponent says. Well, does that mean I win? Oh my goodness, yes. GG. Wow. So, that felt terrible. That felt insanely lucky. The constructs were really nice though, because even though I didn't have an answer for Tamiyo, the amount of material that Urza Saga created was really substantial. It got the Ghost Vacuum online, and next turn I was going to be able to get Nadu, and if I hadn't put this stupid Macabre underneath it, I would have had Nomads and Nadu. And that would have made a real big difference, because getting those both simultaneously means that the instant speed Nomads would allow me to go completely off, whereas the Shuko at sorcery speed means I could have just gotten 1 flip before losing my Nadu. So that was a huge punt on my end. I guess I had forgotten that there was Nomads and just saw all these cards and just went for the first creature I saw. I was feeling a little discouraged at that moment, to be honest. But it always pays to play correctly, and I feel lucky that that didn't come up. I'm on the play for round 3, and my hand is a keeper, Island Ponder. Hopefully I find more lands off of it, but the force is really nice, and the combo obviously great. So even if I lose one of my combo pieces, I'll probably be able to recover using these cantrips. I do have to fetch Basic Island because I can't afford to get wastelanded off of my only mana. I'm really looking for lands, so I'll shuffle. Okay, Underground Sea from the opponent means this could be another Reanimator match. Sure, they have Daze, which doesn't make me feel great, and they're going to see my mana woes, and they'll know that dazing a Brainstorm is pretty good. Maybe they'll let me have the Brainstorms and take one of my combo pieces. These are not great times. It's also tempting, if I don't draw a land, to simply hold off and not cast Brainstorm. But that feels really, really passive. I don't know. Urza Saga. I'll cast the Brainstorm. Maybe it gets dazed. Okay, it resolves. So I'll tuck away the Nomads and the Swords. And I'll play this Plains, and I will not play out Nomads. I'm going to play around Daze if they try to entomb. Ponder from the opponent means I'm probably not dying this turn. Okay, basic swamp. I don't feel great about things here, but at least I got the lands going. I'm still not going to play out the Nomads. My opponent is brainstorming. I'm again thinking Reanimator is likely the fact that there's been no threat yet. It could be Doomsday, and they're looking to not have their Doomsday forced. If it is Doomsday, making constructs is a nice plan. If it is Reanimator, then having this force doesn't feel great. Well, I'm getting thought seized, so I guess I'll brainstorm. Ugh, terrible. I guess I'll hide. Dang, this sucks because if they thought seize me and they can take days, I guess I'll just hide those cards. I'll hide the force and I'll hide the days. Maybe the days will get them next turn. Maybe I'll have the time to redraw the force, but that really sucked. I just can't let them take the force of will. I think my best plan right now is construct beats backed up by the force of will. So best case scenario is that they see that my hand sucks and they fire off an entomb into a daze right now. But this player, I think, is pretty heads up. They're probably too smart for that. Let's see though. Maybe they don't have another land and maybe they have entomb and animate dead. And even though that wouldn't feel great, stuffing their creature wouldn't feel the worst. They could also keep me off 2 constructs by dazing my days, because I would not be able to make 1 construct to pay for the days, and then I would lose the second one because my island would no longer be in play. They could also just find Wasteland here. A really great play for them would be Wasteland my Saga, I make a construct, they entomb, reanimate backed up by days. And I'm pretty sure they saw the force of will from this first Thoughtseize. Yeah. So they know if it's not in my hand now, it's coming soon. Dark Writ. Okay. So I guess this is Doomsday. Another ritual, maybe it's Storm. Cabal Writ. Yeah, it's just Storm. LED. Infernal Tutor, not cracking LED. Yeah. Well, it's a little bit of a relief that it's Storm. I feel better about this matchup post-board. There's still a chance this Daze could get him this turn, but it seems really unlikely. They would have to have like Peer into the Abyss and chose not to play around it. But I think if they just get the Beseech the Mirror and bargain with the LED, yep, maybe they brick on Ad Nauseum from 15 life. Seems unlikely, but unlikelier things have happened. Okay, Gaia's Will is in their hands. They're not drawing particularly well, but obviously they're not dying to these draws either, which means they get to keep going. So I'm gonna feel very lucky if this works out for them. They need to like draw the Tendrils and another Ad Nauseum. They can just stop here. Maybe Daze will get them though. No, they're continuing to go. It's getting risky. I guess they know that there's no 4 drops or 5 drops or whatever. Dark Writ. Yeah, and this should allow them to Thoughtseize. And then with bargain go off, and they have the Chrome Mox as well. Duress. I guess I daze it. Maybe they won't see the line. Storm's already lethal, so. I wish I had a creature and played his swords. Not that any of them would have substantial power. Yeah, just F6 here. I think they got it. I have found that these Ad Nauseum builds, while to me they seem a little bit old school, like maybe power crept out, I've been having a tougher time with them. So I guess people have really been working on this list. Yeah, I'm just going to concede. Okay, so I would like to get rid of white cards and get rid of Tamiyo and get rid of a plains. And I would like consign, force of negation, graveyard hate, and that's sort of where I feel those 59 I feel good about. I guess I'll just have one more piece of graveyard hate, and I'll go with the one that I can get into play sooner. All right, back on the play. Sure, yeah, these cantrips hopefully will find me forces or combo pieces. So I'm gonna go Trop Ponder. My opponent is also on 7. Daze is acceptable. I'll draw that now. Hopefully they just thought seize me. They'll probably take the Daze. But this game, this deck also runs cantrips, so they could just cantrip. Since I believe I'm drawing a fetch land, I'm going to be patient on this brainstorm if I can be. They did not shuffle. So I'm going to play the Shuko. I'm going to leave this uncracked, possibly get a Surveil, possibly Emergency Brainstorm. I don't feel incredible about this, but I could feel worse too. Daze is a pretty nice card to have. If I get thought seized, I will brainstorm in response. Okay, they were just clearing a card before they brainstorm. Of course, playing this brainstorm after a land and fetching means I think that they're itching to go. I don't think you do this. This is a bit of a... maybe they sense that they might be losing next turn. And they might be, if they let me untap. I could just have Nadu on the top. I could brainstorm into Illusionist. Certainly next turn, if I get to untap with this brainstorm, I'll feel good about some cards I could find. I definitely wish I had Orm's Chant for this matchup. It's definitely good to, just play that at a really back-breaking time for them. And they don't really have a good way to interact with it because it's not really like Veil of Summer, vulnerable to Veil of Summer. It's not, if they don't play Force of Will, they really have nothing to say about it. I would love to get to crack this fetch land for a Surveil on the end step, but let's see. Okay, they seem to be going for it. So I have Daze plus whatever the brainstorm finds. Bobble. Cracking the bobble, targeting themselves. To me, that means they're not going for it. Infernal Tutor. Let's fetch a Surveil land, see what we find. I don't want a Shuko. I will Daze this, picking up Trop. So the fact that they did an Infernal Tutor with cards still in hand makes me think they have like a Dark Ritual and they wanted another Dark Ritual. Land was terrible. All right, this brainstorm needs to be pretty good. All right, that was pretty good. That was really good. I'll put these cards back and I will Surveil in the end step. And I'm trusting that those cards that I picked up will buy me at least another turn. I think dazing that Infernal Tutor was probably a pretty good play for me. Okay. Please don't Veil here. Okay, they're passing. Dread Return. No, I don't want Dread Return. All right, well, I'm drawing pretty rough here. I think here I'm just going to hold up Hardcast Force of Negation and Fairy Macabre. I think it's a trap to play out the Nomads. And what I'm hoping, it'd be amazing if I can get them to crack the LED. If they do cast, the Beseech the Mirror with Bargain, I will likely let that resolve. And then the plan will be to force whatever it is that comes out of it. Beseech. Okay, so I'm going to let this resolve. If it's Gaia's Will, which I do think is most likely given what they've shown me, then I'll look at their graveyard and see what I can hit. I would have to hit... I think it's too risky. I think I still have to force. But if they have Veil, that's a nice consolation that I can hit a couple cards off Macabre. Are they going to crack the LED in response? They are not. So, I will attempt to Force of Negation this. If they Veil, it's not the worst. Okay, that just resolved. Well, it's going to be hard for them to pick up the pieces. They could have like ad nauseum. Okay, well, sucks I have Oracle in hand, but they're F6ing. That's nice. Maybe they just scoop. Okay, they just scooped. This is a good example of why you shouldn't scoop, because they were going to get another turn, and admittedly, them having whatever card they had in hand plus another card wasn't going to be great unless it was ad nauseum and they had the land. Then they probably do win. So it really does pay to make the breakfast player play it out. For game 3 on the draw, no changes. All right, I have to mull this. Sad with the double Force of Negation, but no lands. All right. I can keep this. Really tragic that I have to bottom a card from it. And I think it's a Nadu that I bottom. That's more plentiful than the Nomads to re-find, like if I find an Illusionist. And I think I just have to keep 2 Ponders because I don't think this Macabre alone is going to hold the fort together. If they go for it turn 1, maybe it's with Gaia's Will line. Carpet. Okay, well, you were going to get some mana off the carpet, no doubt. Force of Negation, great pickup. I should have played the Tundra first. Saga, also nice. Yeah, that's a good game plan while I hold up Force of Negation and Macabre. The way I can do this, I can also keep them on just 1 Carpet of Flowers mana for a while. So I'll do that. I would really love that I not get Thoughtseize. That would be super ideal. Seeing them use the carpet for blue, really great. Seems like they're a little bit of ways from being able to do this. And I think I will play the Saga next. I don't know, maybe I Windswept, crack it for Savannah, Ponder, Nomads, that could also work. They did not shuffle, they have black mana, and I'm getting duressed. Okay, so I think that line makes more sense now. They don't have too many cards, which means ad nauseum could be likely. I definitely want to keep them off mana. Hopefully they can't go right now. I don't know how they could on these 3 cards. Cool. So I'll hold off on the Saga. Oops. I'm going to fetch, look at some all fresh cards. Sadly, I won't have the blue card to pair with this Ponder, or to pair with a potential Force. But, okay. So, I think this is a keep. I think the plan is to go Oracle on bottom, Illusionist, and then Narcomoeba to play around a Thoughtseize. I will play out Nomads en-Kor, and if I get another turn, I'm going to feel really good. Hopefully they just Thoughtseize me after I kept. They don't know about the Saga, so it could be, you know, a forced blue card situation here. They have plenty of mana. The thing I'm most worried about is ad nauseum. But I think that was an acceptable keep, you know, to survive one more turn and then threaten winning the game. If they have Abrupt Decay, I think I have to leave the Illusionist in hand, because if I went Saga, which I definitely want to do, and Illusionist, then they would have near complete information about my hand. They would only not know Narcomoeba. And right now, I do like that they don't know 2 cards, because that represents, you know, Force blue card. There's a long pause here from the opponent, and I wonder if they're thinking, is it worth it to go off unprotected, knowing that passing the turn back to me with Nomads in play poses a substantial risk. I don't know what 3 cards they could have that get them there, but I see that they are only 1 mana away from ad nauseum. Are your last 2 cards Dark Ritual and ad nauseum? Alright, after a long delay, my opponent is cracking a fetch land. Casting Lion's Eye Diamond. And Infernal Tutor. Okay. 4 mana for Infernal. Beseech the Mirror, bargain. Gaia's Will. Okay. I don't know what they do from here, though I'm feeling bad for not just using the Macabre. They can go Infernal. 1 black left for an LED. Ponder. Wow, what a line from the opponent. I guess this is what took so long. It's pretty impressive that they found a line here. Anything that would work. Come on, shuffle. They need both mana and something they can bargain with? Alright, oh my god. Oh, when they went off there, that was crazy. And I shouldn't have let them take the Macabre. I should have just gotten stuff out of their graveyard, because obviously that's what they take. The Narcomoeba is a dead card, so they just did like a Hail Mary line and it didn't work out. But that was pretty impressive that they thought of a line at all to go there. So yeah, good job, opponent. I guess it just didn't work out. All right, I'm on the play for match 4. Ooh. Interesting hand. I'm going to look up what my opponent plays. So this opponent has no legacy history. All I have is a surveil land to find more lands. I don't have anything to pair with this Nadu. I just have Force of Will. I don't think that's good enough. I'm going to mull. Well, this hand also sucks, but I'm going to keep it. I don't want to go to 5, and this has mana. Blue card means I have Force of Will, I have Nomads, so it's bits and pieces. Swamp Go from the opponent, so Reanimator is likely, I would say. Let's go ahead and fetch now. If they're smart, they might entomb. Play around Daze. Blue card is good. I don't even think I can cast the Ponder. I think I need to just go Misty, Nomads, and hold up Force of Will. Okay. Smallpox. I'm just going to Force of Will this. Can't stand this stuff. Like, honestly, people complain about Oops and Reanimator, but Pox, I don't know. There's like a cult following for Pox, so maybe what I'm saying is controversial, but like, not only does your deck suck, but like, it's very unfun to play against. Shuko, not what I want. I want a Nadu or an Illusionist. Ugh, Daze. Maybe I did want the Shuko because their ability to kill the Nomads is pretty likely. So anyway, I'll play out drop. Maybe they sinkhole me. I can just Daze the land back. Caracas. All right. Bowmasters, sure. Where'd that Shuko go? Huh. Yeah, I just want to brainstorm. Okay. I guess I'll win the game. I can't use the Daze backup, but holding up only Caracas, I don't think this deck is going to run Swords or something like that, so put these cards back. Hopefully they don't have Dismember. It's just too risky to let them have another turn when I can threaten to win the game, so I'm just going to try this, and if it doesn't work, I'll just scoop. But I bet this works. I bet they have a bunch of sorcery speed stuff, or maybe another Bowmaster. So let's see. Maybe they have Snuff Out. This type of deck might also be so trolly as to have like main deck Surgical or something like that. Main deck Fairy Macabre. Not going to play around that though. Alright, show me your main deck graveyard hate. Alright, well, that brainstorm was really good. I feel like I got lucky and kind of escaped with one here. But, you know, what I'm doing is faster and more powerful than a 4-4 and a 1-1. So When in doubt, like, if you have nothing going on in the game, you kind of have nothing to lose by brainstorming into a Bowmaster. Alright, so against Pox... Ugh. I like the extra mana. I like Cauldron. I like Needle. I like Force of Negation. And I think I like removal for stuff. Maybe Daze on the play. I think I don't like swords. They might have like a Barrowgoy for something, but I have to come up with some cuts somewhere. Maybe actually, after what just happened, I think they're so likely to have Graveyard Hate. So obviously you can see I'm not I'm not exactly super confident about what I'm doing here. But I think rather than trying to put together some crazy combo win, take out the Thassa's Oracle as well, I just want to have a good Nadu deck, and I'll have a couple plows, I'll have all the endings. The endings can hit like your Lilianas or whatever. This deck's so stupid. Let's see how game 2 goes. Alright, this is a keepable hand. I've pretty much learned against Pox, you just keep. If you have lands and spells, you keep. Because they're just going to get you down on cards so much. They're mulling, maybe they're mulling to a Leyline. So I feel pretty ahead here. It's going to feel pretty sweet to just go Trop Tamiyo turn 1. My opponent's on 5. It's so nice to see Swamp go and know you don't have to worry about Entomb. I say this and then they're immediately going to have Entomb, watch. Let's just play out this Tammy. It sucks if they smallpox, but they're already down on cards, so I think it's fine. They might not be able to afford to smallpox with their resources. Mishra's Factory. Dark Ritual. My god. Liliana. Okay. Well, that's going to eat a Pithing Needle. I wish I could needle Wasteland, but needling Liliana feels pretty sweet as well. Liliana of the Veil. Nice to have a 1-mana removal spell for your 3-mana Dark Ritualed Planeswalker. It did get my Tamiyo though. Alright, so they're holding up Bowmaster. It's probably the only thing they can do. I don't know, I guess they could be attacking with the Factory. Go ahead, opponent. Bowmaster me. And then you won't have any removal for my Nomads, or you'll at least need another removal spell for it. Yeah, I can Nadu next turn off of this, so I'll Brainstorm on bottom, Urza Saga in the middle, draw Force of Will. They ping me for 1, I miss my land drop, which sucks, but of course it's coming next turn. So, that was a really telegraphed Bowmaster from them. I wish I could have punished it by immediately playing the Nomads, but they're on such low resources right now, and with me having this Force of Will, it just feels great. They might have another Bowmaster, and that's why they're not making the Factory. There's a pause here. Maybe they realized they just missed it. I don't know. Bowmaster pretty weak against the Nadu though. So, and if they remove the Nadu, I have another Nadu. I have Force of Will. They may have some sort of Graveyard Hate in hand. The Mold of 5 is really hurting them. Okay, here's Saga. And provided that makes constructs, that'll be sick. If it doesn't, that's okay. I have Brainstorm. I don't really want to Brainstorm into this Bowmaster, but if they put the triggers on Nadu, for instance, I would just draw cards. Smallpox. No, I have to force this because I can't recast Nadu without the land, so force pitch Nadu a little sad. But now next turn, if they want a smallpox again, then I can sack a construct and a dual land. So, looking good here. Having that needle was great. I'm just going to hold back the Nadu. Suppose it could have been worthwhile to kill the Liliana in case they somehow remove my needle. Tabernacle. Okay. Well, I'm still making a construct, and I'll pay for the constructs. Hopefully they don't have a freaking opposition agent. It's like the one thing I'd be worried about here. Yes, I will pay for these guys. Another land is nice. All right, show me the opposition agent. No opposition agent. All right, I think this game's over. And the fact that they haven't cast a removal spell right now means they probably don't have it. Man, I really want a white source. I really would like that. Force, great pickup. Days, great pickup. I'll just play this out and I'll ponder into the Bowmaster. That's fine. I should have done it after combat though. Cavern, okay. So I'll go Cavern on Core and then I can cast Nomads. And now, oh, I already played my freaking, I will attack them. All right, well, I'm thankful to have the Force of Will going into next turn. And for cleanup, I'm just gonna get rid of the swords. Actually, I should have gotten rid of a Brainstorm. But let's see. Now they're tapping down all their mana to keep their creatures alive. So there have been some misplays in this game, on that last turn cycle especially. But it's fine. Yeah, I'm going to take 3 because my creature draws me 2 cards. I also should have re-equipped the Shuko, so I find that I get sloppy when I'm in a position where I simply feel like I'm winning the game when it's garbage time. And I'm sorry that you have to see the sloppy plays. But my opponent is like a trooper, really sticking it out, trying to play. Let's just do this now. Cavern, Core. Cast Nomads. Let's see if they still want to play it out. If they do, at least I get to draw so many cards, which is always fun. They have to realize they've lost by now. A good reason to do this pre-combat is in case I get any sort of artifact in play. Now I can kill their Bowmaster and swing through it. And I think that's worth doing, given that I'm going to be going to discard. And, okay, GG. Yeah, you know, Pox, it's just not a good deck. So I sort of think if you're going to play a deck that prevents a lot of fun, like both, I don't know, maybe Pox players have fun, but I never have fun playing against it. And it's kind of a bad deck though. So I feel like if you're going to play a bit of an unfun deck, like some sort of stompy deck or oops or something, like at least play a deck that can win more games. So maybe that's my hot take for this matchup. I'm on the draw in the last match of the league against an opponent who has some finishes on Dimir Tempo. I think this is a good hand against Dimir Tempo, so I'll keep. I'm playing for another trophy in this video, and I've lost 2 trophy matches so far. Hopefully the third time is the charm, but we'll see. All right, both combo pieces, Tamiyo. I'll play out the Tamiyo and hopefully it baits a removal spell or a daze or something. And hopefully it's not actually going to end up being Reanimator, because I don't have an answer for that. Surveil land, good to see. Kept a card. Having access to my basics is going to feel really nice. Push on Tamiyo. And they have a Tamiyo. I think what I'm going to do is fetch a basic, ending their Tamiyo, and then play my own Tamiyo, because I actually would rather neither of us have a Tamiyo than both of us have a Tamiyo. So I want to play around days for the removal. And then I would like for my Tamiyo to be a bit of a daze bait, because next turn I could possibly combo off into a daze. Now the reason why I didn't use swords there is because swords just hits more of their creatures, and if they did force a will or double daze to protect that Tamiyo, I'm totally cool with that. So here's my Tamiyo. Let's see what they say about that. My Tamiyo sticks, so maybe that will require another removal spell, or maybe they won't remove it. I definitely think if you have daze, you might want to daze that Tamiyo. So I'm definitely going to be attacking with this Tamiyo and just getting a clue with what my opponent is showing me. I'll go ahead and play my land now. And there's nothing I'm in a rush to do. I'll just say go. If they want to use their mana for a Bowmaster, I'll crack this in response. Okay, Brainstorm. I've been lucky to dodge Thoughtseize so far. As I say that, they might brainstorm into one. But I think they're not so much worried about what's in my hand as what's on the board. If I just had to guess, they should be worried about what's in my hand, so I'm hoping that that will end up working out. Wasteland is really good for them. It means I can't surveil. And push. Draw a card. Okay, well, a land is good. I would love Force of Will. I will definitely try to combo off if I draw a Force. All right. So I'll fetch, Trop, fetch Savannah, cast Nomads, cast Cephalid, opponent is cracking a fetch land. I don't know what they could have. Push. I guess if you have push plus Force of Will, you got me. But I am ahead if that's what you have. I will certainly pay or have that. Okay. All right. So I just try to win, right? I think what they were doing there was a Hail Mary. I don't float the mana, and then they daze me. That's what I'm choosing to believe. It's a little scary comboing off here, but that's what I think. And they're not F6ing, but the type of player who would try to kill my fetch land just to daze when I don't float the mana. I'm calling their bluff here. If it comes back to bite me, like if they have a Force of Will, I will miss the Memories Journey that's not in my deck. Memories Journey would make this feel real secure, but let's see. I have a mana floating. Do you have Force? They do not. Okay, cool. So I imagine they had a Daze and just some other card. Could have been another land. So it had to be a perfect 3-card hand for them. It really had to be Force, Fatal Push plus Force, or Fatal Push plus 2 Dazes. It looks like they maybe had 1 Daze. And man, 3 Fatal Pushes that I had to work through. So that's one of the best things about Tamiyo in the deck, is the opponent cannot hold back on the pushes. And I was able to draw 1 extra card off the Tamiyo, and here we are, you know, a low resource battle to the end of that game. Okay, so Dimir Tempo, I want to get rid of my combo. Thankfully, I get to keep some number of good cards in. Like here, I don't mind the Tamiyo if they don't have their own Reanimate. And then I just get rid of the Narcomoebas, Oracle, Dread Return for all of this stuff. I'm on the draw with a hand I must mull. And I can keep this, bottom the dual land. Hopefully the Tamiyo recoups my card disadvantage. Ponder from the opponent is good to see. I'm liable as well to just play a fetch land and say go. Because what would really, really help me get that card back is if I could Tamiyo with Brainstorm as counter for removal. Okay, now that I have 2 Tamiyos, I will play a Tamiyo. And hopefully they kept a 7-card hand on the strength of Graveyard Hate. It would be amazing to get to blank that. This game could end up being almost exactly like the last game, with a turn 2 ending their Tamiyo and I play another one. All right, they're passing the turn. Feels good. Think I'm gonna get to crash in with this Tamiyo. Interesting that they waited for my upkeep there. Do I Brainstorm in response? They might want to daze my Brainstorm. Maybe they're trying to like maximally blow me out. I think that the fact that I have the other Tamiyo, I should just play it safe. So, there she is. If the read is dazed though, then I probably should still not Brainstorm in response. If I get 2 removal spells out of this Tamiyo, that's gonna feel all right. Interesting they didn't fetch a Surveil in there. Alright, so I'm going to play out this Plains right now because if I do Brainstorm and they have a Bowmaster, I want to be able to Swords that. But I think with as passive a start as they've had, I don't think I need to try to aggro flip my Tamiyo. Alright, I'm going to let this resolve. I'm going to attempt to Swords it. force. Okay. And they pitched Consign to Memory. Okay. I'm going to be patient here with them having that Wasteland. And I'm going to play around Daze with Prismatic Ending. They could do the Wasteland plus Daze trick. In fact, the fact that they held that Wasteland up there to me suggests that they did want to do exactly that. So they must have a Daze. Okay. So my opponent has presumably Daze and one other unknown card. Fetch land is great. Try to make another one of these. And this time I will play out the fetch land, and then I don't have to crack either one. Because if they wasteland one, I just crack the other one when they Daze. So let's kill this Bowmaster. They could flash in another one in response, but I do have the ending for that and could wait a turn. So I'm still going to wait to crack these. I don't really want to. I really don't want to play that out into Wasteland. But let's see what they have, see what they do. Feeling ahead here. Push. If they have a Bowmaster, they get to blow this out. I think one of their cards is Daze, which means they could do the Wasteland trick. I just have to let this go. Because if they do that Wasteland trick, that means in order to play around the Daze, I have to fetch both of my fetch lands, and then my Brainstorm is like basically countered anyway. So I'm just going to fetch Savannah Trop here. They will not be able to Wasteland me off green. I bet they Wasteland me right now. Yep, it's fine. I'll float. I'll just go ahead and fetch now. Fetch Savannah. Draw a card. If they Bowmaster now, I can ending it and pull ahead on resources. Daze, okay. Daze, not bad. So I think they have Daze, and I think they have some unknown card. I think I'm just going to crack this first. And I'll play out Ghost Vacuum. It's not bad. I think I should have cracked that in a way. They probably Daze. No, maybe not. I think I should have held up the ability to Brainstorm. So I think that was a mistake in how I tapped those lands. A Wasteland would suck here. Okay, no Wasteland. And my opponent has only one sorcery, so I'll take that. I don't know if card types will matter for like a Nethergoyf or something. Okay, I have two Nadus. I think the play is I'll Brainstorm. If they Bowmaster, at least I know that's something I have to worry about. All right, so put back Prismatic Ending and Nadu. Play Tundra. Cast Nadu. They very likely will Daze this, and that's fine. Okay, they did not Daze. So they probably have some sort of removal spell. Maybe they have another Fatal Push. That'll get blown out by another Nadu immediately. Hopefully they don't have Edict. Edict would make me sad, but again, another Nadu feels good. They ended up not casting anything there. If they can wasteland me off green, which they can't now that they've played a land, that would feel not great. So they presumably have some sort of removal spell. I'm going to go ahead and try to yank this Tamiyo out of my yard, so if I get to 6 mana, I can bring that back in. Now on my upkeep, they have some play. Bitter Triumph. That's going to resolve. I have another Nadu. And ending. I don't know why they keep waiting for my upkeep. They've done that a couple times on, I think, some weird timings. But playing out this other Nadu here feels great. Even if they had Surgical as their last card and Surgical'd me in my draw step, I could have hit it with the Ghost Vacuum. And things are looking good here. Hopefully I can seal the deal on this. I'm going to feel quite sad if I lose this game. Alright, I'm going to get my own Nadu. So if they do remove this, I have Ghost Vacuum to get creatures back as an out. Saga is amazing. I'm going to swing here. I have my opponent on a 5-turn clock. They have me on a 12-turn clock, and I think that means I should be the aggressor. And I'm so rolled up. I don't need to brainstorm. I'm just going to get this Saga ticking. Now they can't even afford to wasteland me off green. I'm 1 mana away from a Ghost Vacuum ultimate. The one thing that would be such a bummer is if they could Kaito. No Kaito. Okay. So I'm going to just keep hitting cards out of their graveyard. I'll get this Bitter Triumph out. At this point, I think the Ghost Vacuum isn't going to be super purposeful. Ponder. Nice. Probably will Ponder this turn. And I'll do that pre-combat. If I get Shuko, I can get an extra damage in. Is this a Bowmaster? Sure. I'll Swords it. Oh, wow. Hitting my Nadu. What are you doing? Ending. Sure. Are you going to show me that you're red and on Bolt all of a sudden? I'm still going to Swords this. I don't want this thing getting too big and then I have to worry about attacking. Are they forcing? They could also Daze. Daze would be a pretty good play with me holding up exactly enough to get a construct. There's certainly some action here. Another Bowmaster. Yeah, that's fine. Man, putting another damage on my Nadu. Okay, and now I've drawn the Nomads. So what am I looking for here? Force? I have a Force. I'm starting to sniff blood here. I'm starting to feel a trophy. But, alright, yes. Sweet. Well, I'm glad I was able to seal the deal on this trophy after having 2 4-0 leagues that I recorded ending without a trophy. I was going to start feeling like the Karl Malone of Magic Online or something. But that felt really good. The deck felt good. I definitely had some lucky spots, but I was able to beat Dimir Tempo, Dimir Reanimator, and just a bunch of other random stuff. A Nadu deck, a Pox deck, and that Storm deck. And as far as this list goes, I don't really have too many complaints. If you look at the Magic Online League, that gets me my 7th trophy, so I'm way up here at the top. That feels really cool. And gosh, man, if you want to have some fun, come play Breakfast, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Take care.